everyone. Welcome to the Ladies of Sosa podcast. My name is Sara.
And my name is Christine.
And you see how I said Sara? Like Sara.
We're rebranding the name.
Okay, because people have been spelling my name incorrectly on the show. And it's not your fault because we never put the spelling. It's Sahra. You know, Arabic. Like, from Sudan.
Sahra. Yeah.
Sara.
She sounds like a belly dancer name.
Period.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
That's Sahara meets now.
Exactly.
She sounds like the Sudanese woman that Moses married.
Moses was never in Egypt. So
Okay, see, that's
Here Tarek go. Let's get into it. This episode, you guys, is going to be a lot more laid back. We're just, what is it called, Emmanuel? What's the theme of this episode? Because you came up with it. I want to give
the
you
serious shit?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in this episode, it's just going to be Sarah and I, obviously, as the host. And then we have Emmanuel. And then we have Tarek. And Tarek has been on the podcast, I guess, probably since almost the beginning. And he has a lot of controversial takes. But I love how you always stand on whatever it is that you're saying. And you always make sure that you look up stuff to be able to at least back up whatever it is that you're saying. So I really want to call you out. Like, do you feel like you typically have different points than other people that are on the panel? Or are you just trolling? I'm going to say the opposite of whatever everybody says.
I don't troll. I'm a contrarian, so I always go against the popular belief with facts. Like we just mentioned, like we say, like Moses in Egypt. The Hebrews were never in Egypt. There's no artifacts in Egypt that showed that there was any Hebrews or Jews in Egypt during the Kemetic time period. So all those are facts. Everything I talk about, I back with facts. So I'll say I'm more of a contrarian. I just go against the grain. I don't think we landed in the moon. I don't think 9/11 happened. I think everything.
Wait, Nick, you don't think 9/11 happened, or do you not believe that you believe?
No, it happened.
It's an inside
but
job.
It wasn't no people from Saudi Arabia who didn't know how to fly in a plane. Like a 737 it takes a lot time to train, and somehow, some way, with all these rebels, they figure out a way to find their passports.
I think that's been debunked, though. I think everyone, if you really look into 9/11, you'll pretty much see that. I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying if you look into it, you'll see that a lot of things didn't add up that day. Because I'm really fascinated with 9/11. I remember exactly being in my first grade class when it happened.
It definitely happened. Those people definitely died.
It definitely happened. But why and how did it happen is the question.
Christine, Tarek,
Emmanuel.
So you telling me both of y'all are just Sudanese Alex Joneses?
No.
Are they turning into freaking frogs?
I have a question. Why is it that every time someone has an opinion that is opposite of what the mass, I guess,
they get lambasted?
Yeah, then that it's just like, oh, you're crazy or you're a conspiracy theorist. Why do we all have to think the same thing all the time?
I don't think we have to think the same thing. I think for the most part, what we see is like it's too far off. It's too radical for the most part. The examples that we see of people who are contrarians or just like see things from a different perspective is always like the Candace Owens. I don't know, some people might like her, or like people who are just way too radical. Like it's not like I love
it's going
opinions.
Against the norm or what
it's like now it's a brand for you to just completely just like to trigger people at this point. It's like you don't even care about the truth anymore. It's more so just like, if this is what this side is saying, I'm going to counter it with a completely different viewpoint. It's not even the truth anymore. So that's how I feel about it. Like I have no problem with like different
But what if you
opinions.
back it with facts?
And what is the truth? I think that's what in this day and age, this is like the new age where everything's getting exposed and things that we thought there's no possible way this could be true is getting exposed. Like we're living in crazy times where things that we thought were normal or could never possibly happen have happened and are continuing to happen.
Wait, what do you mean we? What do you mean we? I don't think it's.
I'm asking you. How old were you when 9/11 happened?
Bro, I was literally in kindergarten watching it.
So do you believe the stories that happened because it was
absolutely not
Saudi Arabians?
I'm playing devil's advocate.
Okay, go ahead.
I think we're having a bigger conversation.
Because the audience is going to look at you like,
okay, my fault. No.
Do I believe that it was an inside job?
You already know I comment everything. Everything that's pointed at me.
They knew who specifically was going to be on that plane that time. They knew exactly what they were doing with it, and they knew it was an excuse to invade Iraq. Which had nothing to do. They're all Saudi Arabians, but like
gain morale for the war.
Come on,
I think, like I said, this is a bigger conversation when we're talking about all of these different opposing views. It is an election year, and like when you say some things are too far off from
these views are
reality or the norm or whatever, I think it's important to dissect like where is the middle ground or where it's too far off. Like, you know? And I think as Black people, as South Sudanese people, are we all expected to have the same viewpoints or the same political views? Are we not allowed to think for ourselves?
It's like the same way that I believe that killed John Garang. It's that same conversation of like, you know, but you just can't prove it. But you know, because you just had a meeting of talking about specific things, and you're like, oh, that's a red flag. It's like that, what's called the guy that was the red flag for Boeing, where he talked about how Boeing had been skipping corners, had been like messing up, and all of a sudden, he commits.
2 weeks before, he said, "If I will never commit suicide. If I die, it's not because I'm committing suicide." And they killed him.
Tell me,
but in something they're talking about is it's Boeing is because of DEI and they're hiring all these minorities. All the executives in Boeing are not minorities. It's not no DEI. It's because Boeing connected with a different I forgot the other company's called, and they took out the engineers for business people, and it's profits for business.
I mean, it's the truth of our country. But let me ask you a real question. Whenever you go flying,
I am trying to get on a Boeing flight and sue them. So
I get on them all the time, and I always think about that.
Do you not look at for me? I will never go on a Boeing flight again. I want to live.
I can't help it, but I do pray my hardest, and I have had anxiety since.
What's your likelihood of surviving that, dog?
It doesn't matter. My likelihood of getting a lawsuit is higher, so I just need a lawsuit.
No.
I just need a lawsuit. That's all I need.
Yeah, that's
why? Because I'm not in the exit. I'm way in the back. I always sit in the back of the plane.
That's the worst place to be in it.
Nah, the plane nosedives. The people in the front is gonna die. Have you watched Batman? In Batman, what happened when Bane was bringing the planes down? The plane goes nosedives. If you're in the back, all he did was catch the seats and he stood up. And I feel like I worked out enough that I can catch my seats and I can stand up.
All right,
so these are American.
This nigga said,
you would have to have context to understand.
We need, South Sudanese
Shout out
issues.
Batman. Just watch Batman.
I want to go to Emmanuel next. A lot of people, I've seen a few comments in particular that said that maybe they weren't really your biggest fan at the beginning, but as episodes went on, now they're in love with you and they can see your heart, and they were able to really see the man behind the humor and the comedy. So I think that's really important for people to be able to, like, maybe somebody might have read you wrong in the beginning, but I think it's big not for only for them to say that, but to comment it and say, Emmanuel's my favorite now. Like, how do you feel about that?
I think that's just social media in general. Like that's always my personal way that I go at it. It's like people first are like, damn, I don't like him. He talk too much. He's all this stuff, and then eventually they're like, oh wait, he actually has points. He's not about bullshit. His jokes have a point of view. But that's literally just being a comedian.
You're actually very smart. I think people that skips over their head sometimes with the humor, but then they can see whenever you do get into if you actually watch the episode and not just the clips, you can see that he does have a lot of intellectual takes, and he is like a real big proponent for like women's rights and women's issues, and like he really does go against the grain sometimes and not just automatically go with like the typical like what a man would say or the traditional mindset. So
that's being blessed with women in my life, especially sisters and like mom and my dad. My dad's been that kind of dude. Like my dad would never, for example, he would never have an uncle over when my sisters were at the house. He literally would go overboard when it came to how like my mom and my sisters they would all be at my auntie's house, while me and my brother would be with our uncles and all them. Like
I love that.
He knew how to raise young men, but he also knew how to be gentle with his daughters, but also be stern with how they perceive. Because he always used to say that I want you to be better than the men, because men, our problem is we have to do the dirty work. So a lot of the times we lose empathy when we are doing things. So it just is what it is. You know?
Shout out to your dad. Do you want to have a family one day? I don't want to assume.
Oh, hell yeah, Nick. I'm trying to have 20 kids. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, that's awesome. And do you feel like you'll have the same parenting style?
Absolutely.
Because I think you have a strong family unit.
Absolutely. But also, I think I'm going to be more of lenient when it comes to the arts or whatever they want to do, especially because I think for us as a community, we have a tendency to only believe there are only certain types of things that could work out for us. For example, like y'all are podding right now. 10 years ago, they wouldn't even have thought of that. And you did it in like 2014, didn't y'all? Like you did it 10 years ago.
We did YouTube.
Yeah, so like even the idea of that is like such a new thing.
It's
and
different. I feel like they understand it. Like my mom and dad, it's like, okay, that's cool. But it's like, I don't think they fully, until it gets to a certain place and it's like, oh, now I get
understand
it.
the like opportunities.
Yeah, that can come from
Yeah.
it just because it's a different generation. So you're in comedy. Like, does your dad and mom know that you're in comedy, or how do they feel about that?
My parents absolutely know. My mom always, I remember when I was younger, my mom used to be like, you're going to be a pastor one day.
I cannot see that. I'm sorry.
For a living.
Me either.
But that's where my ability to talk and time and like do things on stage started. Like I used to be in my youth group. I used to be up there having testimonial time, and I would make people laugh during it. And like you would learn how to make people cry, laugh, and all that stuff. And it was like a cadence that was in the church, and you peeped it with how people talk. Because most people don't know that comedy is a rhythm. And it's a way that you specifically go at it, and that's literally where I'm built up.
I love how you study the art, like what you're trying to do. That's important. You're not just like, oh, I'm funny, let me just be a comedian.
But
you know?
Now that I said that, like, I can kind of see you being a pastor, honestly. Understanding people, empathy, and like understanding different cultures. That's what's lacking a lot of the times in the church. Yeah,
I feel like sometimes religion can be too, especially if you're like on that. Like being a pastor on that pedestal, and I feel like he's very like open-minded. He's able to look at things from different perspectives and stuff. Yeah. So that might not work the best with like.
Yeah, so there's ways that you wouldn't be the typical pastor.
I don't agree with that because I think the best pastors and the best spiritual leaders are spiritual leaders that are open and are willing to let you challenge yourself in your religion. Like the whole point of the religion, like I had this conversation with one of my pastors like a long time ago where he was talking about your walk. There's a verse in the Bible that says God tells you to seek and you will find me. That means seek and you will find the truth in me. So it's like your own walk with God is not necessarily somebody else's walk with.
Why is that not accepted sometimes? There's a lot of judgment.
Control.
That I agree. I feel like there's a lot of
It's government control. When government gets involved in religion, that's when religion gets poisoned. When power gets involved in religion, that's when it gets poisoned. Like you could have it throughout historical context. Like most of the wars that were happening when it came to the Christians coming into Israel, and like even the Muslims doing what they were doing, it always goes to I want power, so I'm going to use the name of God to invoke a conviction, so people are willing to kill themselves for me. And that's the easiest way to do it. It's like you can convince somebody if they wholeheartedly believe I will get my reward later on, yeah, I'll die for that.
I want to call out Tarek because Tarek has said in past episodes that obviously he grew up Muslim and then he's mentioned something about being atheist. Do you still believe that, or were you just trolling?
No, I'm definitely an atheist. I grew up Muslim. I was a Christian for 2 months because
2 months, dang.
The Sunday school had free donuts when I went to it, and then I was there for 2 months.
The Sunday school have free donuts.
Now shout out to the free donuts.
Yeah, free donuts until I started asking questions, and then they kicked me out. But
so you shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Then
you should have been there in the first place.
Why?
Because no, but the fact that they kicked you out because you asked questions, that's not right. That's wrong.
I think that's a big problem, though. Well, it's like, especially when you're young, naturally, you're going to have a lot of questions.
It was semi. It was me asking questions, and then TV got lost. I didn't steal it, though. Somebody else stole it in the vicinity.
Somebody else?
That I was in. But it wasn't me. It was somebody else. It was some Bosnians. But...
Wait, what?
So
Wait, a Sudanese?
It's a crazy story.
Yeah.
A Sudanese and a Bosnian. How were Sudanese and Bosnian?
Because
they were immigrants too.
Because we was all immigrants,
yeah.
And Bosnians were Muslims, so they knew a little bit of Arabic. So they connected with a lot of the Sudanese people in Jacksonville. There's a big Bosnian community.
Yeah, in Dallas too. My mom had a lot of Bosnian at a certain time when it depends. It's waves. When whenever there's conflict in the country, you'll get a lot. Yeah. Like there's a lot of Burmese people in Dallas you wouldn't even know because I never even knew where Burma was.
Even now in Dallas, it's like it's a lot of Filipinos that's popped out of nowhere.
I was like, do an episode called The Immigrant Connection where we get like
I'll get my mom because honestly, there's like different years, like depending on what's going on in that country, you'll get like an influx of people coming from there seeking asylum.
I would love to see that, like how all of us have connected and all of us have like been. Because my sister's teammate, she's Bosnian, and they were at my place, and then her brother was there too. And it was super dope, just like being like, oh, wait, we all have similar histories when it comes to, because I have a theory that like Eastern Europeans are more like Africans than they are like other Caucasian people.
I don't know about that.
They are racist. No, but we racist. Like, what are we talking about here?
Well, Tyra, you can't talk about racism
I know I'm racist. I say I'm racist.
You ignore the racism that happened in Sudan, or you downplay it.
Wait, because the way before we even start, I am the only person that was born in Juba in South Sudan.
Gosh.
So before we even start this conversation,
you downplay the racial discrimination that happened in Sudan.
I didn't downplay it. I said
you said it didn't happen.
You said it didn't happen.
I said it happened, but the issue is I put it on a pedestal where it's higher than what's happening now. Where you're stating, well, because they did it worse than when we did it. When did I put racism against Khartoum and South Sudan?
Well, we talked about like discrimination.
There is no discrimination though.
See, that's what I'm saying.
My brother, my sister. I remember my sister came in with her dreadlocks, and the way that the Sudanese looked at her.
The reason you said it's dreadlocks, it's not dreadlocks, it's locks. Dreadlocks. It's already a racist terminology.
Stop with this conversation.
It's
we know.
Dreadlocks.
It was because the Kenyans was fighting the white people. The white people were scared and they called it dreadful. Okay, we're good. But
so who said that? Who was Khartoum people?
It was white people. Okay, we gonna stop with all that.
No, we talking about North Sudan and South Sudan because she's thinking I'm
saying from like personal experiences and people that are there in Khartoum. Even my grandmother and my aunties and all that. It's so bad over there. They're like these.
You got locks in Sudan?
Yeah, my sister went to Sudan. Like my sister and my mom were over there.
No, but the fact that you deny that there's discrimination.
I never denied it. I say this should be put on equal parts of what's happening right now. Because what's happening right now, there's way more genocide that's happening right now.
We're not comparing.
Than there was
way more?
Way more.
Stop comparing that.
2 million people
they're
died
two different topics.
During the Civil War. 2 million.
That took how long? How many years?
30 years.
30 years.
Yeah.
500,000 people died in 6 years.
It's bad.
So which one?
But why are you
not comparing it?
Isn't North Sudanese people killing the people in the Darfur
right now?
Isn't that ethnic cleansing?
Right now to this day.
But what is the numbers though?
We'll calculate it once it comes out. But it's
what I'm stating is this.
Happening.
But this is the thing. Is like if for some reason I feel like y'all feel like I'm capping for North Sudan. I'm not from Khartoum.
Yeah, so just,
I was born in Juba.
Okay, but so then
my
clear up what
issue,
your point is.
My issue is that before you talk about other people's house is dirty, make sure your house is clean first.
I agree.
And that's my issue. It's like when they say like people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. And I feel like a lot of times it's like people, they take it upon themselves to say, well, those people are doing this, instead of saying what we're doing on our end.
But that's our trauma. It happened to us. We could talk about it. You know, it happened to South Sudanese people. So I feel
really?
like it's.
But let me ask you this.
Why would it be wrong for us to say like this is what happened in our country?
Which is worse Which is worse?
We're not comparing.
Why are you comparing?
It is because you bring it up.
They're both bad.
They're both bad.
But that it already happened. We're talking about what's happening right now.
My brother.
What's happening right now? What happened back then still plays a part in what's
happening right now.
Is right now.
Why is that?
Because there's still so much trauma, like war trauma. Like you think going through 30 years of civil war, like it just magically disappears, like the trauma, like the political instability.
It's been 15 years since.
And we've been in civil war longer than we've been a country.
Wait, that's like somebody telling you it's been 15 years.
Are you stating that the 30 years of us being in a civil war trumps the 15 years we've been an independent country?
I'm not saying that it trumps, but it matters. It contributes
Why does it matter?
it contributes to our instability and like us growing. So you can't just say it doesn't matter what happened. We got to focus on like
why is
what
it causing
we're doing
instability? Now. Who's causing why is it causing instability?
Are you honestly saying that?
Why is it causing instability though?
All the misinformation.
Tyreek is a contrarian. Like he's gonna go against the grain and challenge. Like, and that's cool because we need that. Because
I like that. I can respect someone who can say, "I disagree. This is why I disagree," and I'm gonna stand on it and I'm gonna leave it on the table. So and that's what it is. So I respect that from anybody.
Yeah,
you know?
Even though I don't agree.
But it's disagree to a point. Show me facts to disprove me. I will agree with you. I'm not just gonna disagree just for my pride. You can send me facts. Facts. Give me facts instead of opinions, and I can go ahead. And that's one thing about me is like I comment on everything. Everything that points out to me, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram, if you tag me, I will comment and I will give you facts and citations.
Sometimes the facts you give is like
they block me.
No. You give facts to credit or to give credit to what your point is.
Of course,
anybody can manipulate.
No,
facts.
you
can manipulate facts.
You don't manipulate facts.
Yes, you can. You can manipulate facts to fit your narrative.
You can manipulate like statistics.
I'm gonna tell you.
Give an
I'm
example.
It's like if somebody was like saying,
I want to know
It's a
of
good
the
debate
recent
strategy.
It's a recent bias. Of course, I know about debating.
It's a debate
yeah,
strategy.
of course.
But I'm a clock you though.
Nah, you're not gonna clock me because I will spit out my facts.
You gonna spit your facts and you'll use it. You'll use it to like an argument that doesn't even. It's not even.
It's not.
Go together.
It was part of the argument though.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in there. I'm gonna jump in there because it's clearly up. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna give the guys an opportunity, not just us included, anybody that's on the podcast, just observations. How do you feel like everything's going? If you see anything that you guys want to bring up, because it's up right now.
Oh no, okay. So how many of y'all have like getting pulled over on the street or somebody be like, "Oh, you're the girls from what's called Ladies and Sosa"?
That's never happened.
Never happened.
Never happened.
No.
Never happened.
Never.
You just said you went to a wedding. They were like, "Oh, we."
But it's
in the
it was
community.
Sudanese wedding.
That
so
happens
they
to me
knew
at
who
Sudanese
I am.
events.
I'm
Yeah,
not
like-
walking around Deep Ellum and be like, "Oh my God, I know who you are." Because if I was, I'd be getting a lot of free drinks.
I would be
but
mortified actually, but it does happen. Like if I've went to Sudanese events and someone will be like, "Oh yeah, I watch you on Ladies of Sosa," so that does happen. But I think it's still right now
niche.
to the
I
community.
think if you're Sudanese, South Sudanese as well, like it's naturally going to be in your algorithm. Just because you're South Sudanese, like you're gonna see it, even if you don't follow or like, you're gonna see
hate it
it.
or love it.
Who do you think is gonna change the most when this blows up?
Me.
Ooh,
Who's
gonna change the most?
Me.
Like what? Like as far as everybody.
yeah, like who's gonna get Hollywood? Who's gonna get Hollywood?
Well, okay, start off between y'all two.
Spider gonna be
between
Hollywood.
us. Okay.
Yeah, between
Okay.
you two
Yeah.
first.
Let's do it. That's fun. That's a
between
good
y'all
question.
two? 'Cause I'll say
I like that.
I'm gonna say Christine.
Me. Okay. How do you think I'm gonna change?
I feel like you're gonna be like.
They already said I'm bougie, so can I get bougier?
Right. You're gonna be like, this too much. This is too much. There's too many eyes on me. I'm gonna disappear into the sunset.
I do like to be to myself in private.
Yes.
But I mean, I feel like I'm already doing that now, so it won't really change much.
You think it's me?
It's Sarah.
It's definitely Sarah.
100%.
It's definitely Sarah.
You hate
it's definitely
You
Sarah.
think Sarah be posting now? If she popping like that, she's like, "Oh, I got 10,000 likes on this. Let me show him a different one. And post that motherfucker right there. I love
that about Sarah. She don't care. She's like, listen, whatever I want to do, I'm gonna do it, and I love that. It's like you can admire different things in your friends that you might not have.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
absolutely. If I'm in a different country, y'all gonna see it.
The
haters gotta
You should
see
wait
what
till
I'm
after
doing.
the trip is done so that they don't know where you at.
What are they gonna do?
That's
Pull
what-
up on me?
Yes.
But they don't have passports.
You see that? They changing on you already.
They are not beating the passport girls allegation. They are not.
Passport
we actually going on another
Passport
trip.
I'm just kidding.
We
I am not bougie.
Mm.
The bougie award. They said Christine got it.
Who said that?
Who said? We did not say
Who
that.
said that?
We did not say that.
We
No,
talked about South
Christine
Sudanese Hollywood.
definitely got it.
They
No,
said
no, no.
Dallas people.
No.
Why? Why am I
said you
bougie?
guys-
Because I'm
No.
quiet? Because I'm
No,
to
because
myself?
like remember what y'all said? Y'all were like, okay, so there's this opening for this new exclusive restaurant, yada yada. We're gonna go to it after the show. Let's come with us. And I'm just looking at both of y'all like, what the fuck?
That's bougie.
When did we do that?
You just be
Yeah.
having these random.
Trying new restaurants is bougie.
I'm not saying it's trying new restaurants, but having exclusive openings and being like, so that they're trying to get the menu right and they.
So
will
what
ask
do y'all want
for
us to
help.
do?
No, there's nothing wrong about
You know
that.
what? I'm embracing it based on the last episode, so
Yeah,
I'll be the
embrace
bougie
it.
one.
You
That's
should.
fine.
You should embrace it. There's nothing
Hey.
wrong with it.
Yeah, listen.
Okay, so who do you believe in the extended cast is going to be the one that's going to be like an egomaniac at the end?
You?
You.
No, it has to be Tarek.
Oh, hell yeah. Tarek is he's already,
I'm ready to eat.
I don't want to say
my
cocky,
ego's already
confident.
high.
Yeah, it's already too
Yeah,
high, so it's
You
going to
don't,
be
you don't
through
think
the
it's going
roof.
to switch up?
Never.
Yeah, I
It's
feel
already high.
Yeah, it's already high. I feel like
It's gonna get
Emmanuel's
worse.
gonna be like,
Let me tell you something. If I win the
I'm-
lottery, I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I'm not gonna know any of you.
me either.
Protect your peace. Sometimes it's like you just have too many people in
Exactly.
your energy and it just gets too crazy.
I'm not
And I don't
bougie,
like
though.
problems. I'm non-confrontational, so I'm gonna be boring.
But I don't like the
and
term.
bougie.
I don't like the term bougie
Hmm.
because it implies that like you feel like you're better. I don't. Feel
Which
like I'm
is
better
not the
than
case at
anybody.
all.
Yeah.
If
so
anything,
I
I'm not. I
feel
would
like
never
we're too
turn
humble.
bougie.
Like it never registers to us whatever it might be like good things or highlights or whatever. It's always like, okay, yeah, that was cool, but it's never like now it's to my head and I feel like, oh, I feel
Yeah.
like we have a lot of I don't want to say self-limiting beliefs, but I feel like we don't really see what other people see sometimes.
Yeah,
You're South Sudanese. That's just naturally our like. Even if you do something great, like I'll be like, nah.
By the way, South Sudanese people, I will say, are like the nicest people.
That's so true
in the world. Like we have such a like a
very
humble,
welcoming,
kind, welcoming spirit, and sometimes that can work to our disadvantage, especially in business or like things where you have to put like the money first, advancing the business first, because our culture is so like take care of one another, be humble, like especially as women. Tyra, I don't know why you looking like that, because that's true.
I'm shaking my head. Like, no, I'm agreeing with you.
People around you, depending on where they feel like you are in life, will change. Like, people be like, oh, you change or whatever. Sometimes I feel like people change based on what they think you have going on or where they think you're at, even if that's not necessarily where you're at. And then they'll be like, oh, you change.
When somebody tells you, oh, you change, yes, I'm supposed to change. Nobody stays in this same state of mind. You have to change, you have to adapt, you have to become better. And that's what life's about. So a lot of times it's like when people say you've changed, is that because they're stuck in the same way, but they don't want to get to your level and they just want to stay on their level. It's like, no, you have to change too. You got to adapt too. So
I think you have to change to a certain extent.
Positive.
I think you can change to a certain extent. You still have to have your same values as a human being.
I think what people think from South Sudan, because now we know that we have South Sudanese viewership, like not just diaspora, but like
that's
actually
true.
Living in South Sudan,
in the continent and as a whole.
The continent. Yeah. Like we did our analytics. Sometimes the comments that we get from them is like, we think that we're better.
Ooh.
Like we feel like we're better. Like
we're not beating allegations with Tyra.
Oh my gosh, Tyra, we can't do this.
But we are though. I don't know why. What's that a hard
no, we're
facts?
not better than South Sudanese people.
Not as a human beings, but
we're the
standard of living. It's a better standard of living.
People that have been just placed in a different environment.
So is it our fault?
Why a South Sudanese person? When I be around South Sudanese people, I still feel like that sense of community, like, oh, like we have something in common that's different than any other person or people that I'm around in my day-to-day life. There's this unspoken understanding, like culturally or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't think that we're better. I think if I go to South Sudan,
but I think
it's because of the talking points, because of like our talking points are more from the diaspora perspective. Sometimes it can come off like you're not speaking for me.
Whenever we get those comments, we cannot control the fact that we grew up in America or we have an American accent.
Yeah.
I feel like they try to other us all the time, like, oh, you guys are not South Sudanese or whatever. It's like, we're in America. How are we supposed to talk?
Even if we did talk about things that are going on in Juba or like specifically speak to that, I feel like we would get backlash because it's like, you're not even here. We're not on the ground. We're not on the ground, so it doesn't make sense for us to be there.
But even on the last episode, y'all pointed out was like, is there a Sudanese tax? And a lot of that tax is no
for us,
Sudanese
not
tax.
For them.
It's not. I'm not talking about even financially. It's about emotionally. Is there a Sudanese tax where you feel like you're in a better space, so you have something to do back home, like you feel bad not doing something back home. When you're like, we both have the same trajectory. One of us is just in a better space than the other person, but at the same time, it's like, do I feel guilty that I'm here and you're there? And they're gonna make you feel like you're guilty that you're here. But it's like, it's not. I didn't choose to be here. I just came here, and I took it upon myself to become a better person.
Yeah.
So that's not. So I feel like a lot of times the Sudanese tax is like it may be monetary, but a lot of times it's emotional.
That is a great.
That tax is emotional.
Yeah, that was great.
That was amazing. And
Thank you. See, I do. Sometimes I spit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I give you that, buddy.
That shit up. Can we give him a round of applause to Tyra? Real quick? Hold on.
There you go, brother man.
You know he's gonna love
Timothy.
I'm an egotist.
How do you feel about that, Emmanuel? The South Sudanese tax, but the South Sudanese people back in South Sudan sometimes feel like you can't speak for me, A, or B, like you're coming from a place where you guys feel like you're better.
Or you're not even here. You guys don't even know what's going on or whatever.
Oh my gosh, I hate that. When they say that we can't speak on things, like we talked about tribalism, and respectfully somebody was like in the comments, like, I think y'all don't know what's going on in South Sudan, which is a fair point, but it's like, I feel like the implication is like, we can't talk about stuff that's happening in South Sudan. Why can't we? We're South Sudanese. And we came here not by choice. We came here because of displacement, because of war. And we want to go back to South Sudan. I want to move. I actually want to live in South Sudan at some point. And so I want to make sure that my country is doing well politically, economically. Like, we have stability, we have food, we have, like, you know, we're living like the best conditions that we can possibly live. So I feel like I have a right, even if I live in Dallas or in the US or Australia, I feel like I have a right to talk about it.
Yeah, our experiences, our perspectives, because we have a
Yes.
big population here. And I feel like not only South Sudanese in America, but worldwide who are in diaspora can relate to the podcast because we have similar experiences.
But
are we not allowed
to talk about tribalism?
Have our own media? When you have media back home, there's radio, there's whatever that they have back home. Why are we not? Because we don't have the same experience at the end of the day, no matter whether we're all South Sudanese or not. It's just not going to be the same. The things that we go through, the experiences we've had growing up in this country, things, you know, it's just not the same.
But it's our country. It's our country too.
Yeah, and we're taking that back, but we're saying that we're South Sudanese people. You can't take that away from us, but we're also living in a foreign land, and this is what we've went through. These are our stories, our experiences, and everything that comes with that, and we are very much allowed to talk about it. Like, if you don't like it, then maybe tune into a platform that is more South Sudanese focused from the continent and the country itself.
Right. Or tell us, like, this is where you got it wrong. This is where you can get it better.
Right.
Like, help us understand the context better. Because yes, we're not in South Sudan, so we're not going to have all the answers. Like, let's just communicate. But when it's like comes to we can't talk about it or we shouldn't talk about it,
we want to have South Sudanese in Kenya and South Sudan on the platform, and we're building up to be able to do that. But for right now, all we have is what we have, which is people here with the same shared experiences. So that's like we're building from what we have. You know?
Also, eventually, just have them reach out on TikTok and you can talk to them on the lives. Because I know a couple of South Sudanese that are in Kenya that would love to get on the live.
Honestly, we've
had a lot of people contact us over like the last few months, but you know, we've only been doing this podcast for 6 going on 7 months. So we're still building infrastructure. As you can see, the quality of the cameras has improved. And like we've just started like trying to build the infrastructure behind the scenes just to be transparent, to be able to open it up to more people because we've seen there's so much interest in the podcast. So you got to give us a space to grow.
Yeah.
You okay with our dollars, but not our opinions? Come on.
Oh.
Sometimes it's good to just address certain things head on, and like it's a collaborative thing, and we're growing, and we're very much open to criticism, because if you guys say something in the comments, we might not comment back directly, but we see it and we try to work on making it better, because we do appreciate you taking the time out to watch it.
Yeah, and I like criticism, but when it's like you are not allowed to talk about it, or you shouldn't talk about it because you're not there, or like, you know, just like you said, the othering.
In a space to grow. You know, I feel like people always, when you start something, expect it to be perfect right from the inception of it. But you have to give people time to evolve, especially if it's a space that is not like inhabited by a lot of people. So it's like we're trying to do something that there's no real blueprint or roadmap to do. So we love the criticism. That helps us be better and like improve. But in the meantime, if you do have criticism, give us a chance to fix it. Don't just be like, okay, this is not, and I'll write you off and cancel this podcast, because that's come up a lot. But it's like, okay, you can say what you want to say, but we actually take criticism well. So if you give us time, we'll like implement it and try to fix it and try to grow from it. But I think sometimes in our community, it's like if it's not what their vision of what it should be from the beginning, it's like write it off.
Especially when we talk about controversial topics in our community, like the Dinka quote unquote privilege. Like a lot of people were like, this is not what I expected you guys to do, or whatever. Like, obviously you're not going to agree with every single thing, but that's the point, is to actually create a space where South Sudanese people can talk safely about their opinions, because unfortunately we don't always have freedom of speech. Give us, all of us, a platform. We're not saying that we're right or wrong. It's just like the platform to speak about it.
And the intention, because what we're doing is for our people. So it's kind of crazy sometimes when you'll get the most backlash, which I understand, from your people, but it's like it's for us, by us type of thing, which is the whole reason why we started it. So I think sometimes if we were thin-skinned, it would be very discouraging. But because of the support and like the encouragement we've gotten from people back home, Kenya, and other Black people in the diaspora, and even people who are not Black who are just curious about the culture, it's what has kept us going. But I think that what we're doing is important, and in the future, as we grow, it will get better. And like with Tarek and Emmanuel and all these different people, personalities that are on the show, I think that it's going to grow into something that probably you and I can't even imagine, or the people on the panel can't even imagine right now.
Yeah. And so I bet that sounded like we were venting a little bit, but no, we really do appreciate all the different feedback that we get from everybody around the world, whether you are in the diaspora or you're in South Sudan or anywhere, Nigeria, Egypt, like New York, Canada.
Yeah.
We get like feedback from everyone. And so we really do appreciate it. We're just kind of talking about like the nuance, like the one-off comments that we get. For the most part, we get so much love and appreciation.
And shout out to everybody who supports the mission.
Yeah, and we want to thank you guys so much for all that you guys do as far as supporting us. Do you guys have anything to add on to that? I don't want to.
I'll say our DMs are open if you want to have a conversation.
Yeah. And a few just house notes before we finish off. So we do have a new form that you can fill out if you are interested in being in the show. It's going to be in our link tree. So if you are interested, you can fill it out with all your information and stuff. And when we have an episode topic that kind of fits what you have filled out in your intake form or whatever, we'll reach out to you.
A lot of people ask us how they can be on the show. And so we're creating like a easy blueprint where you can just click that link and like, it's like a, not really an application, but just us getting to know you. Mm-hmm. We can fit you into topics that better suit you. We definitely want to go on TikTok, Instagram, on all our socials. We want to go live more so we can better connect with the audience and get real-time feedback about how you guys feel about the topic, or just us as individuals, or like how we can do better as host, or as a panel. So we're going to start going live more. We did it one time.
Or maybe one day, if you guys are interested, doing a live episode to where we actually just be on live on YouTube.
Yes. Big shout out to our people who are continuous faces.
Is there anything you guys want to plug? Like anything you have going on?
I'll plug in.
Listen,
I don't have nothing. I don't do nothing. But I do want to plug in. May 25th, Dynamic and Eddie Kenzo is coming to Dallas. So show out to your South Sudanese brothers. But Eddie Kenzo is not South Sudanese, but Dynamic is. He's Kenyan. So
he's from Uganda. I'm sorry.
He's part of East Africa, and I think Houston is on the 26th. But I don't have nothing to.
It's like an East African fest, right?
Yeah,
festival.
Yeah,
I'm going.
So I might have to go. I'm trying to see some big forehead women.
See what I'm talking about?
You don't got to go too far.
That's a beyond. I'm just messing with you, Sarah.
But you see how they do me?
Sarah, you know I love you.
You see how they do me?
He said that's a cranium.
I embrace my East African forehead, okay?
You know we love it.
We love it. We love that you have a lot on your mind.
And on top of your mind.
Listen. The shots were fire.
And in front of your mind.
There's a lot of areas to brush on.
You guys. No.
Sarah.
Y'all can't make the host walk off.
Y'all say I want to go live. This is the issue with y'all go live.
That is all.
June 19th, debut episode of Plus Size Pretty Boy. It will include these two ladies. So we will have fun with that.
Are they plus size pretty girls?
You did not reach out to my agent.
I don't give a fuck about your agent. You here, nigga.
Oh my gosh. You guys, thank you so much for watching this episode. It was a really quick, lighthearted, fun one, just so that we can connect with our audience and touch base and obviously have a few jokes and stuff. So you guys, we're going to be on live a lot more. So please, we're going to post to let you guys know ahead of time. Please check us out. Any constructive criticism. This is the episode where we're specifically asking our audience. You're not going to hurt our feelings unless you're intentionally trying to hurt our feelings. So if there's anything constructive that you want to tell us that's going to help us improve this podcast, which is for us, by us, please comment below. Or if you don't want to be, under the comments, please DM us and let us know. Also, another challenge. This time, we want y'all to tell us funny stories about how it was when you first got to your new country, or anything that was happening when you first came to your immigrant situation. What was something that you look back at with a little bit of embarrassment, maybe some funny times? Give us that video. Yeah, I love that. So thank you guys so much for watching the Ladies of Sosa podcast. We love and appreciate you all. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, and mostly comment, because we want to hear from you guys. I feel like a lot of people, we're still growing, not a lot of people, but like we want to gain our viewership. But so many of y'all watch, but don't comment. And the whole point of this podcast is for engagement and for us to like learn different points of views and perspectives. So make sure you leave a comment, like, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching Ladies of Sosa. Thank you. Bye.